What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
It was the worst kept secret in the Los Angeles Lakers and JJ Redick, a match made in LeBron podcast heaven. What it do? Welcome into the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. And the Los Angeles Lakers have their new head coach. Is it going to be all about post-game podcast, or how is this going to work out moving forward? What a day to be in the opening drive of Kenny Thomas coming up at 9 a.m. as Kenny is going to share his thoughts on this. We've been pretty much expecting this for the last month or so since it broke that JJ Redick was an option for the Los Angeles Lakers. But here we go. And how you feeling, Laker fan? You look at the last 4 to 5 years for the Los Angeles Lakers, going from a bubble championship, some of the fan base really not buying into LeBron James, and then at this moment in time, essentially it feels like LeBron James is going to be co-coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. But JJ Redick got a 4-year deal, and you know what? I'm on board with this hire, but I can't wait to hear what y'all have to say about this. You can get in this morning, 505-246-0610. That is the Sports Animal hotline for y'all, also the Sports Animal text line. And I am joined this morning by my co-host on the Fantasy Football Show. Two of the three of us are here this morning. He is Steve Masterson. Dude, what is up? You ready for this?
Yeah, ready as I'll ever be, I guess.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So Steve and I, well, not only is he one of my good friends, we do host the Fantasy Football Show. You can find us on YouTube. Also follow along on our Instagram page. And got you in this morning for the Los Angeles Lakers. Like I said, this is the worst kept secret in sports, and everyone was connecting the dots. So they had the big push for Dan Hurley, and so that was something that they could say, hey, we tried, we swung for the fences, missed, now we're falling back to JJ Redick. But I think what is really fascinating in all this is LeBron's role. He tried to take a step back and say, I'm not going to be involved. It's not about me, but this is exactly about LeBron James. I'm going to tell you why I do think this can work. And I know so many people say, no way, JJ Redick doesn't have the experience. How is he going to hold LeBron James accountable? I don't think LeBron needs to be held accountable at this point in his career. He knows his window, 2 to 3 years left on the basketball court. And I think LeBron is going to be fine. It's going to be pretty much JJ Redick, LeBron James working together for 2 years. I do think we're going to see a player-coach aspect out of LeBron James, much as he's going to try to deny it and say this is JJ's team, I'm staying out of the way. But this 2 years with LeBron James is going to allow JJ Redick just to get comfortable with everything else. The Lakers are still going to be a competitive team with LeBron and Anthony Davis. Now, is it competitive to win an NBA Finals championship? Not so sure anymore. The depth across the NBA. But when you heard that JJ Redick was the coach of the Lakers, what were your initial thoughts on all that?
I felt like this was just a signing to make sure we kept LeBron happy, right? They're doing the podcast together. They're friends. The whole LeBron needs to be held accountable. He's turning 40 this year. Like, he's 40 years old. He doesn't need to be held accountable. He's grown. He is going to be, in my opinion, probably helping coach more than playing. I mean,
It has that vibe.
yeah. Well, and you know they're going to bring in Bronny, right? So if you're going to do that, might as well coach your son and play with him for a year or two and then move on. So it really felt like the Lakers were just trying to make sure LeBron was happy more than let's do everything right.
So that's what a lot of people are going to say, because that is exactly how this feels right now. And that's why I'm really interested, Laker fan, your take on this. I know it's been split. Some have gone all in and been on LeBron's side, but then as a franchise, you could be sitting there going, we're the Los Angeles Lakers, and you were not able to make a big head coaching hire. You're not able to lure Dan Hurley away from UConn and coach the Lakers in the NBA. You had to go with JJ Redick, who's never coached anywhere, who's doing the podcast with LeBron James. Now, JJ Redick, the basketball mind, it's fine, but it's the other stuff that goes into it, because so many times in the NBA, and we talk about it over and over and over, is you're just sitting there managing egos and just trying to keep team chemistry, trying to keep players happy. And I think the first year, I think you are going to see players kind of bought in, but is it going to be too buddy of his atmosphere? You know, how is everyone else going to feel towards JJ Redick? And what you brought up with LeBron being that player coach, I absolutely have that feel. So that's why I think this can work out, because it's going to be 2 years of it's year 3 and 4. That if that's where LeBron James finally retires, that's where it gets really interesting. Because with LeBron there, does that give JJ Redick the year of credit? Like, hey, we are the guys together. Or will people not look at JJ Redick as a head coach and just look at him as LeBron's buddy? And will that cause issue for the other players? Because one of the things you said is Bronny. Like, you just fully expect the Los Angeles Lakers to draft Bronny James. And then what kind of locker room, what kind of chemistry do you have at that point in time? Or if you're playing for the Lakers, you just realize, well, yeah, I'm wearing a Lakers jersey, but you're almost playing for LeBron James at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think one thing we should mention, though, is JJ Redick did interview for the Toronto head coaching job last year. So he brought it up on his podcast. So he's obviously, it's not the first time that somebody's thought about it.
Charlotte was another interview we had this year.
Yeah. So it's not like it's a surprise that he got a head coaching job per se, because he was getting an interview. So obviously people had respect for him. But LeBron James, I do agree. I think it could be successful, because JJ Redick, when you listen to him, he's super smart. He understands. I assume all players who play in the NBA are smart. He's probably just better at connecting the dots and helping people understand.
That is a good point.
Which
presenting that message,
right?
Because some people can't present that message at that level, even if you've been there, done that.
Right, because coaching, at its core, coaching is teaching someone how to do something that they should know how to do, but teach them how to do it a little bit better, and it's changing your, how you present it to everyone. So if I can watch JJ Redick's podcast and start to understand concepts in the NBA, then an NBA player should have no problem at all, and he can probably go way higher level. So he does have that aspect, which is probably what got him the interviews, because when you watch, it's easy to digest.
So the next domino to watch is, of course, LeBron James. He has a player option for next season. Do they lock him in kind of a guaranteed 2-year deal, which would make a lot of sense for the Lakers at this moment in time? But 4 years for JJ Redick. And now the next question, what happens next week? And is Bronny James a Los Angeles Laker? What can this roster do? And do they have an NBA Finals ceiling? Or is right now, when you look at the Western Conference, are they just a second-round team? They lost in the first round to the Nuggets this year after losing to the Nuggets last year in the Western Conference Finals, because we just watched the Dallas Mavericks, who got blued out the bill by the Boston Celtics. Of course, right now are the standard, but specifically when you look at the Western Conference, the Nuggets are going to retool and be right back. Oklahoma City got the experience everyone says you have to have in the postseason, and they just made a big trade, which I think is fantastic for the Thunder. I think Anthony Edwards showed you the leader he is, the talent he is with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Same thing for the Dallas Mavericks. They can add some pieces around Luka and Kyrie Irving. The Suns, they might not trust them in the playoffs. They're going to find a way to win enough games. Now, the Clippers could be the team that takes a step back, because now a lot of reports are that Paul George is done in Los Angeles. So are they moving forward with Kawhi Leonard and James Harden, and that duo is definitely not a duo you can count on in the postseason at this moment in time. But speaking of that big move for Oklahoma City, we're going to dive into that next, and we're going to stack up the West with what the Lakers have done, because with these decisions, they're in on LeBron James and his buddy JJ Redick. Does that mean Bronny is coming to town? And Bronny is not going to impact this team on the court for a while. So how do they use these last couple seasons to make an impact? LeBron James on the court, and why was that such a big move for the Oklahoma City Thunder? We'll have Kenny Thomas coming in at 9 o'clock to break this all down, and also look back at the Lobo basketball season. What a year it was, those 4 days in Vegas, getting to the NCAA tournament. But we'll talk with Kenny Thomas about what this year meant for the Lobo program, some of his favorite moments. Look ahead to the non-conference schedule that Richard Pitino feels could be one of the best non-conference schedules ever for the Lobos next season. That's coming up at 9 a.m. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
If you're drunk,
Blasted.
intoxicated,
Rip. Plaster.
taint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
What's going on? Who are you guys?
Well, sir, I'm going to pick you up at the DWI checkpoint for drunk driving.
And that's when I have to come down to get you out of jail.
Well, temporarily. I'm Judge Torres.
They call him the Hammer. Hey, hot off the presses, champ.
I'm real proud of you, honey.
Way to make them happy back home, Captain.
Who's that?
That's your new buddy in jail.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
They have a coach. It's JJ Redick. Feels like it's going to be a coaching duo. Redick and LeBron for 2 years. Then you have the Bronny James stuff that's out there, and it feels like that's another no-brainer for the Lakers that Bronny James is going to be on that roster. But that's not going to help them on the court. And there's a reason Rich Paul, the agent for Bronny James and LeBron James, has talked so much about the right spot and development and Bronny needing the right coaching. He's a young player that's a little bit smaller than we thought. He's a tweener, but is he a point guard? Is he a shooting guard? What is his elite trait? Because a lot of guys in the NBA, even if you're a role player, you have one elite trait. You don't really see that from Bronny right now. To add that into the mix. And it's a Lakers team that also has D'Angelo Russell on a player option. He wants an extension. He could hit unrestricted free agency. And then what do they have to work with around LeBron James? This is a team that's been in the play-in situation the last few years. Yes, they went on that run 2 years ago, but the Western Conference has got that much better around them. And now you look at Oklahoma City, and it's a move that, name-wise, for a lot of people, you don't go, wow. But player-wise, these are the moves that teams make that get you to a conference finals, that put you on the position to win your conference. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the sports animal. JJ Buck, joined by Steve Masterson this morning, my co-host on the Fantasy Football Show. He's a co-host this morning on the opening drive. And, of course, the best producer in the biz is Bobcat in this morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Appreciate you coming in and helping us out on a Friday morning, Bobcat.
Yeah, well, it was a struggle because I woke up at 2 o'clock this morning, never got back to sleep.
Well, so you've been up for a while. You are
I've been up for
bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and ready to go.
Let's put it this way. The coffee drip into the arm is working.
Yes, we got the coffee IV rolling for Bobcat this morning, but much appreciated. So yesterday, Oklahoma City traded for Alex Caruso. Yes, that same Alex Caruso who won an NBA championship with the Los Angeles Lakers. But Caruso has been with the Chicago Bulls the last few seasons. And these are the moves on the edges. These are the moves that help you take that next step. Because Oklahoma City has the experience. They have an MVP caliber player in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They have Chet Holmgren, who now in year 2, I'm expecting a huge leap from him. Because what we're seeing right now in the NBA, the trends across the board, is homegrown talent, and then you add around the edges. You look at the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, both drafted, grew with them, and then they were able to add Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, get that NBA championship. Now the Mavs, it's a little different. Luka was a homegrown piece, but then they added Kyrie Irving. But go down the list right now of the teams that are atop these conferences, especially in the West. Anthony Edwards, Anthony Towns, homegrown drafted players. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, homegrown drafted players. So having that ability to hit those right guys then allows you to add around the edges. And Alex Caruso, been two-time all-defensive team member. He shot 41% from 3. So all of a sudden, you have Lou Dort, you have Alex Caruso, who are elite wing defenders in the league. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren. Like, those are the moves that contenders are looking to make. And those are the moves that you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, you sit there and go, do you have the ammunition? Can you make that move? Because what Oklahoma City did is another player that they drafted was Josh Giddey, which they just didn't have room for. You need more with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, those guys being ball-dominant players. So Josh Giddey goes to the Chicago Bulls, who are looking for a playmaker because Alonzo Ball, whose career has been sidelined with those leg injuries. So you bring in Josh Giddey, who's 21 years old, and was a true point guard. And for Giddey, he has 11 career triple-doubles, which is the fourth most by any player age 21 or younger, and that's a list that has Luka Doncic, Magic Johnson, and Ben Simmons on it. But these are the moves that contenders make, and those are the ones you take a step back and go, and the Lakers. And right now, they're waiting on LeBron James and what he's going to do, because they're going to renegotiate him for 2 more years. D'Angelo Russell. But you look at the Western Conference, and yes, the Boston Celtics are the champs. Not forgetting that. The Boston Celtics were elite. They were that much better than everyone else in the NBA. But that hill now for the Lakers, we've seen it the last 2 years. We're seeing it now. It's just going to get steeper and steeper as LeBron James gets older.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, age is going to catch up to him. And we're already seeing it, right? He's not LeBron James when he was in his early 30s. He's LeBron James in his late 30s. So I don't know how much longer we can expect that part of it. Getting Caruso, though, for OKC just adds another on-ball defender, right? It makes them a lot easier to defend anyone on the court. You don't have to worry about, player X guarding player Y. So it does make it a lot better in that aspect. I understand why they did it. I don't know if the Lakers have that move. They haven't even really re-signed LeBron yet. So you have to do all these other things. And like you said, homegrown talent is important. The Lakers aren't doing that. So.
Yeah, and I'm interested, Laker fan, 505-246-0610. How do you feel about this time? Are you in? Do you trust J.J. Redick and LeBron James, kind of a duo, for at least the next 2 years? I think really that's the ceiling of expecting LeBron to still play at a high level, put up numbers like that, and be someone that you can count on and be consistent. And then when it's post LeBron, is Anthony Davis able to take, or are they able to lure someone else to the Lakers? It's fascinating, man, because it was the worst kept secret in sports. Even when the Dan Hurley stuff came down and the Woj bombs and they're flirting with Dan Hurley, it never felt real. It always felt like this was going to be the outcome. And when the Dan Hurley stuff, when he said he was staying in UConn, James Borrego, well, you never signed James Borrego, so you knew that wasn't going to be someone they were going with. When Monte Williams was fired for the Pistons and there wasn't this push from the Lakers to try to interview Monty Williams, you knew this was the way they were going. So now the questions are, is it like if Brian James is a Laker? Because that's not helping this team anytime soon. And the rest of the team, how do they feel about it with J.J. Redick in there? And it feels to me like I'm intrigued by it. I think J.J. Redick, if he got the head coaching job in Charlotte or Toronto or anyone else that would interview him, I'd be very intrigued about this move, even with the question of him not coaching. But now this one, is he going to get a fair shake in Los Angeles from everyone else not named LeBron James? We'll dive into that. 505-246-0610. That is Sports Animal Hotline and Sports Animal Text Line for you this morning. And I am super excited to talk with Kenny Thomas coming up at 9 a.m. about this and how he'd feel. He spent 11 years in the NBA, and if he just had someone come in, a former player, and immediately become head coach, how would he feel about that situation? Also coming up at 8:30 this morning, Nick Nee from Sandale Golf Club, the head pro out there, is going to join us to not only help improve your golf game, but man, the U.S. Open last Sunday, what we saw in those final holes from Rory McIlroy collapsing, Bryson DeChambeau winning his second U.S. Open title. How does he feel about that? Because it is still a little bit of the PGA Tour versus Live vibe, being a PGA pro. Nick Nee, what does he think of Bryson DeChambeau? But when we come back on the other side, chargering. Oh, man, we talked about it so many times last year, but can this coach actually stop chargering for a team that so many people are starting to maybe doubt on with their quarterback? And can they make a push? That's coming up next. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
And of course, as we head into the weekend and more stories coming out about the destruction of the fires in Rio Doso. Of course, earlier this week, we're telling about one of our friends here at Cumulus Home Life Furniture over on Coors Bypass taking donations for water. canned food. I know so many more companies around town are taking donations. If you know of any, or if your company is doing that, feel free to send us a message. Call in this morning, 505-246-0610. We'll continue to pass along all that information as our thoughts are with everyone in Ruidoso dealing with those massive fires. You're seeing the aftermath, the destruction of that fire. So many people displaced, and we'll continue to pass along the information wherever you can donate. Home Life Furniture was taking donations this week, and any other places that you know of, let us know. We'll get that information out there so we can help our fellow New Mexicans after that devastating fire, which is continuing in Ruidoso, but then you're seeing the aftermath of what is going on. So help out any way you can. And again, if you know of anyone, or if your business is taking donations, let us know. 505-246-0610. It is the opening drive. JJ Buck, joined by my good friend Steve Masterson this morning. He is 1/3, together we are 2/3 of the Fantasy Football Show. You can find us on YouTube. That is my side gig. You hear Jim Rome talking about his side projects all the time. Well, that's my side project, the Fantasy Football Show. It is your local connection to fantasy sports. We have episodes dropping weekly on YouTube. You can find us on Instagram for more content, as well as Steve and my also good friend Aaron Hernandez done a fantastic job jumping into that. We started at the beginning of last football season, week 1.
Yeah, it was the September, right around, I think September. Yeah, we did the first episode, and it started as a fun little just get together and podcast for our fantasy league, and it's kind of morphed into something more, which is
taking off. It's been a lot of fun. We were doing some podcasts earlier that were more to the video stuff, so you can find all our episodes now on YouTube.
Yep.
And it's a lot of fun. It's a side gig. Check it out. Give us a like and a follow, because we're talking with you. We take your questions and everything along the lines. It's the 505 Fantasy Football Show, essentially.
Yeah, you've given it 3 different names. I mean, if you actually look it up, it's 3 Dudes Fantasy Football Show on YouTube. But yeah, it is the 505. It's the 3 of us just hanging out.
3 Dudes Fantasy Football Show. It's been a lot of fun, and why Steve's joining me this morning, because the opportunity to get him into doing something else, and
you said I finally have enough experience to be on the radio with you. Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was like, you've done it. You've done YouTube for a year. You can join the show finally.
You can handle radio. This is nothing. So, charging. And one of the back and forth that Jeff Symbieta and I have a lot on is Justin Herbert. He's done with Herbert. He's done with people giving him a pass. He's done with people like me giving Justin Herbert a pass for not winning games, not winning playoff games. I feel that Justin Herbert is, whoever you rank him, right? We do this quarterback ranking. I think he can be top 5, top 10 quarterback in the league. And that is someone that carries the team. That is someone that wins games. He hasn't done it yet. But I think one of the biggest changes is the coaching does matter. And the Charger players are acknowledging that Brandon Staley was that guy that we all thought he was. That's why he lost the job, because they were not good in clutch situations. So can Jim Harbaugh stop charging? Charging has become the given. That's why you don't trust the Chargers. You're like, oh, it's LA. They're going to charger it. So Khalil Mack, I've been there a few years with the team. He said this past week that Jim Harbaugh, one of the things that he has come in on and already started to focus on is how to win close games. Max said that Harbaugh has learned a lot about the late game strategies, and Harbaugh wants the Chargers to employ different strategies. Max said, quote, knowing what it took for you to lose close games, just having an understanding of the game and knowing what plays lost you the game, knowing what situations lost you the game, like a 2-minute drill at the end of the game. Then Mac also emphasized that, quote, something simple can end up being so big at the end of the game. So one of the things Jim Harbaugh has done is immediately looked at chargering. I don't think he used those terms, but Khalil Mack knows it. That locker room understands the amount of games that they've given away in the fourth quarter. And if you look at last year for the Chargers, they had a 1-point loss, 2 2-point losses, and 4 3-point losses.
Yeah, but we've called it chargering before Brandon Staley. The Chargers have been the Chargers or chargering since, 2000, right? Phillip Rivers was a Charger. They got rid of Drew Brees because they were chargering. They brought in, they've just done this forever. So I think he has to come in and change the organization. It's not just like, oh, Brandon Staley was doing this. It's the whole organization is chargering. I mean, that term didn't come up over in his 3-year tenure. But to kind of go the other point of that is Bill Belichick, we always believed was the greatest head coach that we've seen in a long time because he stressed those situational football. That's what we expect Harbaugh to do. We expect him to come in and tell them, like, hey, in these situations, be aware, know what it is, know what to do. Don't waste a timeout. Don't, make sure if you go down because you're injured, we have a timeout to give, and we're not going to run 10 seconds off the clock. So I do expect him to turn that team around, but I don't think it's going to be this year because they've lost so much talent. They look.
They're always a team that's looked good on paper, never backed up.
Yeah.
And this is a year where we're going to find out just how good Justin Herbert is. Because I think they're actually going to take stuff off his plate.
Oh, yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, he's going to play action.
For as much as Jim Harbaugh loves Justin Herbert, it's going to be a run-first offense. And I actually do think that can be a positive for Justin Herbert.
Well,
when they lean into Gus Edwards and whoever's healthy, because J.K. Dobbins is coming off an Achilles injury.
Yeah. And they drafted Lad McConkey, right? And they hope Quentin Johnson can turn into something. But if you're a run-first offense, those two guys can just streak down the field after a play action. And so, I don't think – I still don't believe they're going to make a huge step forward. I don't think they're a playoff team. However, I do think that you could see Justin Herbert start to do better and become the quarterback you believe he is, the quarterback he got paid to be, right?
Yeah, he's making that elite money right now, with which what we're seeing in every contract. That's the next one has been elite, but I think Justin Herbert has the talent to back it up, and it's going to be interesting because Jim Harbaugh, the players feel that he can make it, and it's that confidence in the head coach that hasn't been there. And you're right, Charger Ring wasn't just a Brandon Staley. You can go back, and I know Sports Center did a thing on charging last year, talking to Antonio Gates and going back to players that, it's been a thing for a while now for that franchise, but it was specifically highlighted some of the missteps of Brandon Staley, and it's the aggressiveness. It's what you want to see, and if it works, you'll love it, because you know who was aggressive? Dan Campbell.
Yeah. But it cost him in the championship.
Yeah. And so you have that thing. It's anything. If it works, it's awesome. If not, you're an idiot. And that's the way people put with Brandon Staley.
Well, I think, we can kind of table the Justin Herbert debate, but what you're seeing out of that whole team is the last, 3-4 years, they've gone through 2 head coaches. They're on their 3rd, right? So as a Charger fan, I'm not, but I'm sure Charger fan is sitting there going, okay, this is our time. We finally got the big-time head coach. Justin Herbert is the future. I think we'll be great. But, we got to see it, right? We have to see what he'll do. He did amazing things when he was in San Francisco. He took them to the Super Bowl. I think he can do that again.
Jim Harbaugh is the winner.
Yeah. He's everywhere he's gone, he's won. So you're going to see a turnaround, I think. I don't want to set the expectation as this year, and that's why I'm kind of...
I think that's the question. Are they a wild card team? Because no one is picking against the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. Of course, we know the Denver Broncos complete offensive rebuild with Bo Nix at the quarterback position. I think the Raiders can be feisty.
Yeah.
With Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell.
Well, and they beat the Chiefs last year.
They did. And I do like some of the pieces that they have, because you look for kind of, elite pieces, right? Or you have Devontae Adams. You have Max Crosby. You have a coaching staff that feels like they're on the same page, heading in the right direction. So Antonio Pierce was able to keep that job. Then you have the Chargers, and then you look at them versus the teams that they're going to have to be battling for a wild card position. And if you look at the AFC, we know it can have that depth, almost like the Western Conference in the NBA. But what are your thoughts on Charging? And I think Jim Harbaugh coming in does instill a different level of confidence. But all eyes go to the quarterback position and those contracts that they're given. And Justin Herbert, they've gone all in on him. And, you know, we've had this debate on the opening drive between Jeff Symbieta and myself about Herbert and how much is Harbaugh going to change that narrative. And speaking of quarterbacks that have high expectations and is it now or never, Colin Cowherd, yes, the one and only Colin Cowherd you hear right here on the Sports Animal, 1 o'clock Monday through Friday. He went off on a rant. And I'm going to tell you, he's just wrong. He is wrong because the times have changed. That's coming up next. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
He's just wrong. But it is a generational thing. Oh, the next generation, they're soft. They don't know what it is. Oh, they don't take it seriously. Nope, he was just wrong. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, joined by Steve Masterson this morning. He is my co-host on the Three Dudes Fantasy Football Show. That is my side gig. You hear Jim Rome talking about it all the time. Side projects, his other podcasts. Well, that's my other thing. So check us out, Three Dudes Fantasy Football Show on the YouTube. Also follow us on the Instagram. Much appreciated, because my guys, Steven Masterson and Aaron Hernandez, put in a ton of work for the fantasy football and just football content that we have out there. Steve joining me this morning. Bobcat holding it down, producing as Mr. Symbieta. Vacation time today. Enjoy it, Jeff, and someone will pick up our award tonight at the New Mexico Broadcasters Association. I don't know who it's going to be, but someone, when they say the opening drive for Best Sports Show of the Year, will be there. You can go pick it up, Bob. Do you want to go?
I think I'd rather sleep.
Okay, so Bob will be asleep.
Sorry.
Maybe DC can grab it. Of course, DC producing over on News Radio KKOB now. But someone will get our award.
Yeah.
Hopefully bring it back here.
We'll pick it up.
And that is New Mexico Broadcasters Association Awards. All right. So Colin Cowherd. I'm right here on The Sports Animal. 1 to 4, Monday through Friday. And I listen to Colin Cowherd because, yes, he has takes I don't agree with, and that's what I like. He knows to be challenged, to think differently, but he was so wrong yesterday. It wasn't one of those that you can have, all right, which side are you on, and have the debate. He was just flat out wrong. And he was talking about Kyler Murray. And this goes back to when the Cardinals, when they signed Kyler Murray, when they had that thing that leaked out in his contract about film study time and studying. And it came back to Kyler Murray games too. The gamer, he has an issue. No, that's just an old school mindset, y'all. Like it's a generational difference. Because we are the age where we grew up playing video games.
Yeah.
From the Sega Dreamcast, Nintendo 64, GameCube, PS1, PS2, all the way to 5 now.
Yep. The original Xbox.
Xbox 360, Xbox One. That's an era thing. Yep. But what Colin Cowherd was saying is Kyler Murray's going to be no good because he plays too much video games. And I just don't believe that. Like, I do not believe that Kyler Murray is so engaged with video games that he does nothing football related.
Well, yeah.
Like, I don't believe that. I think it's an old school mindset to where you didn't grow up playing video games, so you think that people who play video games, all they do is waste their time, do nothing else. You're a gamer? Yeah. You know how many people are gamers these days? Because it's what they grew up with. We grew up with it. And by the way, I play video games.
Yeah.
You play video games.
I do.
We both have jobs.
Yep.
We both have kids.
Yep.
Managed to keep a wife around.
Surprisingly.
And we play video games.
Yeah.
Like it's not like it's just this old school mindset you're stuck in. Like you're sitting there in a smoky room with your Cheetos and you're up until
Mountain Dew
6 a.m. in the morning, and then you walk to your job at McDonald's.
Right. Well, would you rather him be at home playing video games or at the club? Right? Because if we look at what is he expecting? I mean, if Kyler Murray's not studying his film, fine. Right? And that's where this is all coming from, that contract. Okay, if he's not doing his film study, that's one thing, because then he's not performing his job. But if you're talking about, hey, this is how he likes to, blow off some steam, that's different, right? Tyreek Hill has a Twitch channel. He plays video games on a stream, and he's probably considered one of the great wide receivers right now. So he is wrong, right? Like a quarterback, just because he's the quarterback, as long as he's doing his film study and doing everything else, should be allowed to go blow off steam however he feels fit.
Yeah, and I think because that story leaked with Kyler Murray, it's he's still doing too much of this and not enough of that. Which is, this would be video game and that would be quarterbacking. And yeah, Kyler, you look now, this season, the 8 games last year, I think were huge for him to get back on the field and just play football coming off the knee. And now we can go into this year with an Arizona staff, which it feels like they got it right. Jonathan Gannon, how competitive they were just as a football team overall. And now you have Kyler Murray coming back. He struggled the last 2 years, even before he got hurt. You've got 2022, he was 3. But that was also different coaching staff that they're coming off. In 24, he was 9-5. Kyler Murray, I do think, is refocused after this knee injury, because that will always wake you up a little bit. And now all of a sudden, you look at the coaching staff and you look at Marvin Harrison Jr. coming in. Trey McBride, by the way, if you look at the last 8 games that Trey McBride and Kyler Murray played, Trey McBride was Kyler Murray's BFF at tight end.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden you have Marvin Harrison Jr., who I believe, and I think everyone does, why he was drafted first, 4th overall, is going to turn into a legit number 1 target. Trey McBride.
Yep.
Michael Wilson, by the way, we talked about on the 3 Dudes Fantasy Football Show.
Yeah, we did.
Him and Zay Jones are very intriguing, 3, 4th options. And James Conner is still there. And Trey Benson is a running back they drafted out of Florida State. Like, he is set up to succeed. And I believe in Kyler Murray. And I don't think that this whole video game narrative makes sense at all.
Well, Kyler Murray came in after a bad knee injury last season and performed well. Right?
3-5 over the last 8 games.
But if you look at his stats, he performed well. So right here, he didn't throw for under 200 yards in the 8 games he played. And his rushing totals were down. Obviously, he was still trying to work the knee back, but he still ended up with 3 rushing touchdowns. And he still had a game with 50 yards rushing. That dude is studying film, right? Because that is the example. He didn't run everywhere and make a play. He was sitting in the pocket, he's making his throws. Now, there's no way he wasn't playing video games while he was rehabbing. Like, he's sitting, he's forced to sit on a couch.
I thought what you said was a really fascinating point. It's what else are you doing? Are you mad if you just sat there and watch movies all the time? Netflix. I know Colin Cowherd, and this is what we're talking about. Yesterday, Cowherd, he was going off again on just why he doesn't believe in Kyler Murray. And it wasn't necessarily it had anything to do with his stature or this or that. It was because he played video games. And I know Cowherd, it's part of his shtick, right? You get to a certain level, you're that good. Some guys have a shtick. And Cowherd also talks a lot about, the backwards hat. Doesn't like quarterbacks that wear a backwards hat. So he railed on Tony Romo forever. He was on Matt Stafford. And by the way, Matt Stafford won a Super Bowl. So what does that do to your backwards hat narrative? And then yesterday started going off on Kyler Murray for playing video games. And what you said, Steve, is right. It's like we have all these other guys that are spending their free time getting in trouble.
Yep.
Being out of the house. And so if you're just spending a couple hours gaming, I will take that over anything else.
Well, I mean, they're people, first off, right? Yeah. They have lives. what are they supposed to do? Do you want your quarterback to just sit in the film room 24/7, never interact with anyone?
Because we know Tom Brady, all he did for all those years was just sit in a film and watch.
Okay, but
never did anything.
No, exactly. Never did modeling, right? Never did any of his other fun stuff with Giselle. He didn't do anything outside of football.
But we know it's time consuming, and as a quarterback, it is different. You have to invest more time than Tyreek Hill and these things. But I think it's funny sometimes where we go or what people do to try to say, well, this is a reason someone's not good. No, this is a generational.
Right.
Like, we all grew up playing video games, and a lot of us out there still manage it differently because it's our thing.
Yeah.
How you blow off steam.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I hate that opinion. Go play video games. Have a good time. Who cares?
I will see all y'all on Xbox Live tonight, by the way. Get together, play some Halo, have some fun. It's opening drive, 505-246-0610, the Sports Animal Hotline and Sports Animal text line. Kenny Thomas coming up at 9 a.m. We're going to talk Lakers, Redick. We're also going to look back at the Lobo basketball season with Kenny Thomas because this is our final installment of Kicking It with Kenny. That is coming up at 9 a.m. It is the OD on the FM and AM. The Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh? I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom. Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom. Boom.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready.
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Here, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bach.
Winner the 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year. You get vacation time. Enjoy it. Jeff Symbieta. Someone will pick up the award at the New Mexico Broadcasters Association for the sports show of the year. And all of it is due to you as well. So thank you for listening, giving us the opportunity to spout off on sports on a daily basis. It is the opening drive. JJ Buck, joined by my guy, Steve Masterson, this morning. Bobcat holding it down. There's a bunch of what's going on, man. It's like a line change over there. It's the Eric Strauss in, BV left, DC, bounces Jerry. Like, it's a Friday morning of who's who here at Cumulus Media. And speaking of who's who, there's some mixed messages going on in Pittsburgh. The Steelers quarterback position. So we were just talking about Kyler Murray, the Arizona Cardinals, and how Colin Cowherd, yeah, man, I get it. You got the contract, you got the national show, but he was dead wrong with his take on Kyler Murray playing too many video games. Different era, buddy. But when we look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and what they did in an AFC North, that's a juggernaut. Just because it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback, whether it's Jake Browning, whether it was Joe Flacco, whether it was Mason Rudolph, like those games, division games, are just slugfests. They're always somehow one-possession games. It doesn't matter what's going on. And the Steelers, this offseason, thought they hit a home run. Like, we got Russell Wilson on the cheap. We think he's better than Kenny Pickett. We'll take a chance, too, on Justin Fields, a late-round pick. Yeah, let's bring him in. And Omar Khan, the general manager, said this past week on 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh that he is excited, quote, so much talent he feels that they have. He said, if you would have told me that we'd be sitting here with Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, and you had Kyle Allen 5 months ago, I wouldn't have believed you. We really like Justin coming out of college. He had an up-and-down situation in Chicago, and the opportunity was there to get him, and I'm excited. He's really looked awesome. Okay, Omar Khan. He has to feel great because he just redid the entire quarterback room for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who Steeler fans have been screaming that is it a Mike Tomlin thing, not being an offensive guy. It's just they haven't got that quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger left. Well, yeah, we know they haven't got that quarterback, but now it's Russell Wilson. If you're looking at Russell Wilson and what happened in Denver, yeah, it was sour. And they paid him big bucks. He didn't work with Sean Payton, but I'm not totally sold that Russell Wilson is done as everyone else is. You look at the numbers last year and you put it on a Steelers team that's has a better defense, that's going to be competitive. That's exactly what they're looking for. But then it was Justin Fields and the excitement. However, Omar Khan might be excited. Hasn't looked good early for Justin Fields. Mike DeFabo of The Athletic posted, quote, Russell Wilson has clearly been the better quarterback. And it says that Justin Fields is struggling to process quickly, struggling with accuracy, and it's underwhelming in 7-on-7 drills. And unfortunately, that just goes to the Justin Fields narrative. Is those were the things he just wasn't quite good at. He is an unbelievable athlete. Dude rushed for over 1,000 yards, but he's a quarterback, not a running back.
Yeah.
And I've been pro Justin Fields. Yep. You know, I'm when I look at it and go, how do you not mold that? Because the first 2 years in Chicago, they did not invest in the offense like they did this last offseason, knowing that Caleb Williams was coming.
Well, learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I've been all right. I want to see Justin Fields get a chance. So it's still early. Like we're June 21st, and Justin Fields needed a chance to get on the field in preseason games, have more opportunities in camp. But hearing some of this same stuff there is why I think Russell Wilson ends up being the starting quarterback.
Well, did you see any of the hype videos that Pittsburgh put on Twitter? Justin Fields was throwing against air to Pickens, and those throws were late after. I'm like, there's nobody there. You can't hit an out route late. I mean, granted, there's a learning curve, but I'd rather you be early and go, oh, okay, you're not as fast as I thought you were, than 2 seconds late when you have a defender bearing down on you. That's getting picked. I think so. I love Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is, I think, underrated. He hasn't had a losing season in his tenure, which is insane to me. Him bringing in Russell Wilson makes sense. It kind of feels like, hey, we're bringing in Russell Wilson. This is going to help us bridge the gap. And then you bring in Justin Fields, and yeah, he's not getting his fifth-year option picked up, right? You could probably pick him up pretty cheap because he's not going to play much this season. Russell Wilson maybe plays 2 more years with you, 1 or 2, and then you bridge the gap with Justin Fields and see if you can develop him. If not, you're not signing him to a long-term contract, and you move on from him, and you kind of go from there. The problem Pittsburgh's always had, and will probably continue to have, is because Mike Tomlin doesn't lose, they never end up with a top pick. Like, even when they got Ben Roethlisberger, he was the 7th overall pick, right? So they're not ending up high in the drafts and taking quarterbacks. They're ending up in the 20s because they make the playoffs all the time. That's where you got to take a Kenny Pickett. So I think this is a smart move from Pittsburgh, taking Russell Wilson, because I don't think he's done. I think you're going to get good value out of him. And they have a way better running game than Denver did. I mean, you have Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. That's a great running game, right? You have good receivers, and you can just kind of see what you can get out of Justin Fields. I think Russell Wilson's we're going to make the playoffs quarterback. That's what they're going for this year. They're going to make the playoffs. They'll probably make a decent push.
Yeah, they went 10-7 last year.
Yep.
In that division, where of course it's still the Ravens, which are the favorites, but then you say, all right, Joe Burrow coming back with the Bengals in contention. That feels like that could be a coin flip at that point in time. The Browns, it's a giant unknown because Deshaun Watson got hurt again. He's coming off an injury. He's still in the rehab process. He's been on and off throwing because they don't want to overdo it as he comes back from his injury. And you bring up an interesting point about the Steelers, being good but not great.
Yeah.
And does that ultimately hurt you with what you can do at quarterback?
Yep.
Because I'm one that I am pro just be as good as you can be because there's no guarantee.
Exactly.
Because you look at these number 1 picks, and while some of these guys are getting paid, it's we have questions on Kyler Murray. People will do. Trevor Lawrence, he's got a gigantic contract, but then you're also looking at a below 500 quarterback in his career at this point in time. And is there a bunch of number of picks you're looking at? So there's no guarantee in that. And then you look at some other quarterbacks. Now you can find a guy in that team's area. So I do think that's fascinating. And you kind of point on the Steelers being good enough. You look at the AFC North, kind of doesn't matter. Quarterbacks, like those games are going to be crazy. But if you can have a step up, and I think Russell Wilson will be what they thought Kenny Pickett was going to be. And it's a guy that's consistent, that can make a play, but won't be the reason you lose to him.
Yeah, get back to that Steeler way, right? Let's run the ball. We grew up watching Jerome Bettis. That's kind of what they're doing again. Like, let's run the ball. It's take time off the clock. We'll play great defense, and then we'll be in a 17-14 game. We will win the 21-14 game. There might be a game where we win 10-7. I mean, when you watch all those AFC North games, that's all they ever are. It's just a hit the quarterback as many times as you possibly can and play defense. So the Steelers are going to go, hey, Russell, just make a scramble and make a throw when it's the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the AFC is going to be fascinating because you look last year, they had 3 left.
Yeah.
The Ravens, the Browns, and the Steelers. And the Browns and the Steelers were playing with Joe Flacco and Mason Rudolph. Yeah. Like, Kenny Pickett didn't even come back.
Yeah, he didn't. You're right. It was Mason Rudolph.
And they were playoff teams. And now you factor in, Joe Burrow coming back. You look down at the list of, all right, what are the Jets going to be? A 7-1 football team with now Aaron Rodgers there. Someone's going to make a jump, whether it is Trevor Lawrence and Jaguars living up to the expectations that they underwhelmed with last year. Anthony Richardson. I want to get an AFC South next.
Okay.
Because when we're talking about the quarterback position, is that the division that has the highest ceiling in the NFL when it comes to the quarterback position, where you can look down the list and see top 10 ability from all these guys? And yes, I am talking about Will Levis having the opportunity to be an upper tier quarterback in the NFL. We'll dive into that next. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom! Boom!
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
And how does that franchise manage the next 2 years? Because it feels like it's going to be Redick and LeBron pretty much co-coaching. You have to think the next step is Bronny James is going to be a Laker, but Bronny James isn't going to help this team on the floor as of now. And what did the last, I think it's 2 years of legitimate high-level play from LeBron James look like for the Lakers? How do they make a push in a Western Conference that is really good? That the Thunder just got better by adding Alex Caruso, who is an impactful player when you have those pieces in place, finding those pieces to the puzzle. We know the Nuggets are going to still be right there in that conversation. The Thunder, the Mavericks were just in the NBA Finals. I think the Clippers might take a couple steps back, because if you go all in, which they did on Kawhi Leonard, sounds like, you read the tea leaves, Paul George is on his way out. If you're signing James Harden, two dudes you can't really trust in the postseason lately. So we'll get into that with Kenny Thomas coming up at 9 a.m. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. JJ Buck, joined by my guy, Steve Masterson, this morning. And as we come off the AFC North conversation, the Steelers, the quarterback play between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, he moved to the AFC South. And we just saw last week Trevor Lawrence got his big-time deal. So he's locked in. We saw C.J. Stroud be the dude. And if you're Carolina, you're going to be looking back at the number one pick for a long time, going Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud. But also last year, we saw Anthony Richardson go fourth overall, the Indianapolis Colts. And then Will Levis, who was a second-round pick for the Titans. They're going all in on Will Levis. And Tennessee is doing what you should do when you have a young quarterback. They made a head coaching change. They moved on from Mike Vrabel, who solid coach. Mike Vrabel was good, but they wanted to go fully in on the offensive guy. So they bring in Brian Callahan, who's the OC in Cincinnati. So they go offensive head coach. They go Calvin Ridley in free agency. They got Calvin Ridley, Nuke Hopkins.
Yep.
Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard, who I think combined is going to be a good running game.
Yep.
They draft a left tackle,
which is
in the first
underrated.
round.
Yeah.
So those are when you're looking at franchise pieces, right? You're thinking quarterback, thinking franchise left tackle, or of course the right-handed guy, and then maybe like an outstanding pass rusher, edge rusher, or something like that. And then, with the South, does it have the highest upside? 1 through 4? Because yes, there's established quarterbacks, the elite guys. But I was thinking about like how fun the AFC South could be moving forward with these quarterbacks.
I think upside. That's the key word, right? Anthony Richardson, from a fantasy perspective, we love, right? Because he runs. But do we love him as a quarterback? Still yet to be seen. Yeah. Because, and we've talked about this on the show, he's Josh Allen 2.0. Can he get his accuracy down? So Anthony Richardson is fun. He's intriguing. High upside. Will Levis, I'm not 100% sold on him. But I agree with you. What they're doing is, hey, we're going to give you everything. Can you do something with everything? And if the answer is no, then we know we don't have the guy. CJ Stroud, we just believe, right? Like we saw it. He looks amazing. He's doing stuff that we just didn't expect from him. Trevor Lawrence is like, our co-host talks about it all the time. He's getting paid for what he did in college. He hasn't really proven a ton in the NFL. That doesn't mean I don't think he's good. He's just not doing what we expected. And I don't know if Urban Meyer broke him.
Yeah, a lot of people look at that and they throw away that entire year, which I agree with.
Yeah.
I think Urban Meyer was a disaster in Jacksonville. So then you're looking at the next 2 years, and it's like 8-8, 9-8.
Yeah.
For Trevor Lawrence. And even if you look at his playoff win, you go, how much was that? Trevor, because what I do a lot, and we did it this week looking at the US Open. For every comeback, there's a collapse. And when you're up 27-0, like the Chargers were, I think chargering it, that is definitely like 60, 70 on the collapse meter.
Yeah.
Versus comeback. Now you have to make plays
to
take advantage of that. But I think the AFC South is fascinating with the upside.
Yeah.
Of these quarterbacks. Because then you look at, I was kind of thinking, what is comparable? Maybe the North, but the North is you have your established Jared Goff player, but then, Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, JJ McCarthy are in that upside category now with rookies. And then, like I said, it's versus established divisions like the North, what we talked about. It's Burrow, Jackson, Watson, or Russell Wilson. There's not a lot of upside. You're hitting those things with those guys. And that's why I think the AFC South is going to be a lot of fun to watch, because out of nowhere in just a year, the Texans have become that team. So we thought Jacksonville was going to be last year.
Right.
And CJ Stroud, I think in a lot of people's minds, already passed Trevor Lawrence. And now can, Trevor, who he said he believes that this is the best team he's been around. It's easy to say, too, when you just signed that contract.
Yeah, it was like,
you're locked in and paid.
What is he supposed to say? Oh, this is definitely the worst team I've been on for the last part. No, he's going to say it's the best. So, I mean, it's interesting. Trevor Lawrence could be hit or miss. CJ Stroud, we could see some regression from CJ Stroud, too.
It's possible.
He had really good season, but are we expecting that to continue? Is there going to be people start to learn his game a little bit more? I don't think so. I mean, I'm just.
Well, and then what they, bringing in Stephon Diggs, adding Joe Mixon in that offense. We'll continue to have this conversation of what do you think has the highest upside, maybe as a division, even at the quarterback position? Because I think the South, where we have a little bit of the established, even with just a second-year quarterback in CJ Stroud, but the upside, 505-246-0610, the Sports Animal Hotline and text line this morning. But it's Friday. It is 8:22. So you know what that means. It's time for us to talk about our sweet deal today. It's High and Dry Brewing. Andrew's with us in studio. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good. How are you guys today? Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it, man. So first off, High and Dry Brewing. Where are you guys located?
We are located just off of Lomas and Adams.
Lomas and Adams. All right, so get that in your mind. And then as we talk about this, get ready. Go to our website, sportsanimalabq.com, because at 9 a.m., our deal goes live. You get $50 at High and Dry Brewing for just $25. So I saw that you guys are all about really the small batch experience. You focus on the community and the culture. What does that mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So that starts with us we are a small brewery in a neighborhood. So we've got this, very intimate kind of feeling. We like to call it the neighborhood's living room. And honestly, the whole community part, we're supporting the community through arts, music, just kind of like whatever everyone's into. We like to engage with everybody and make that a part of what we're doing, because that's important to what we're doing in the city, and it makes it a vibrant place.
You love that. And, this is one of those things like we started a podcast, and it feels like, everyone has a podcast, and all of a sudden it was like everyone wanted to get into brewing. But obviously you guys have been able to kind of find something special at High and Dry. What kind of got you guys going, in this and to make this journey?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, I mean, there's breweries everywhere, and we've got a lot of awesome breweries here. And our thing is we wanted to do something in a neighborhood that, that was pedestrian friendly, walkable, and build that community amongst the neighborhood. And that's our thing.
That's your thing. And then of course you welcome in everyone else from around the city to check out your community that you got at High and Dry Brewing. And you also got so many things going on. You got to have a Taco Tuesday.
Absolutely, we sure do.
Trivia night. So music going on. So you guys, it feels like whenever you go into High and Dry, you're going to have yourself a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. We got our house band on Thursdays, the Chachalakas, 6 p.m. They're awesome. Bluegrass Jam on Sundays at 2. We got an open mic on Sundays, and then we have a kind of a secondary location for our music at Copper and Carlisle. It's called the Nob Hill Stage. We've got live music every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday over there as well.
So High and Dry Brewing, once again, let people know where you're at.
We are located just off of Lomas and Adam.
Lomas Adam. So if people are going to come in for the first time, what do you suggest? What do they have to do?
My favorite beer that we have is our Ghost of a Moon Pale Ale. That's just a good standard right across the board kind of hoppy beer. If you're into IPAs, our Special Shapes IPA is probably one of our most popular beers. But we always have 12 on tap, and we've got a variety of everything, so you can always find something that you like.
You can always find something you like. High and Dry Brewing. It is today's sweet deal. So go to our website at 9 a.m. sportsanimалabq.com for just $25. You'll get $50 to go experience High and Dry Brewing. Andrew, appreciate it.
Yeah,
thanks for coming in.
Me.
Can't wait to check out your spot. High and Dry Brewing. That is today's sweet deal. Once again, go to our website, sportsanimалabq.com at 9 a.m. Coming up next, Nick Nee, Sando Golf Club will join us. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM and 610 Sports Animal.
This report has been...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I've ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. Like this shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Murcia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Spell, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Last Sunday was epic. Final round of the U.S. Open. And as we've discussed, for every comeback, Rory McIlroy, oh so close, 10 years since winning his last major. He was right there in the lead. And then the last three holes, it all went away. And DeChambeau, it wasn't easy. That drive into the native area. Second shot lands in the bunker, but what a sand shot it was to set himself up for the par to win the U.S. Open. And just like that, PGA Tours into the Travelers Championship. And you got the big names in the tournament: Collin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, Scotty Scheffler, but Tom Kim is destroying the course right now. He's 13 under par at TPC River Highlands. You got to look back at the U.S. Open and also help your golf game so you can enjoy the course this weekend. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, got Steve Masterson in studio this morning, and now Nick Nee from Sando Golf Club joins us. Nick, what's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, well. How are y'all doing this Friday?
Doing fantastic, man. And, well, it played out the way it should. The course was challenging, but the winner had to hit the shots. Just what were you thinking watching the dynamic between Rory McIlroy and Bryson DeChambeau on those final holes of the U.S. Open?
Man, you saw one guy that just tried to just get it into the house at some point, and obviously a lot of shots for Rory that he would probably like back. But, at the end of the day, Bryson just hit a key shot at an unbelievable moment in the 1,000th playing of the U.S. Open or whatever, it is for them. So, unbelievable. I was pulling for Rory, to be fair and honest, but Bryson was a well-deserving and a great champion of the U.S. Open this year. And you saw that percentage of hitting it inside 4 feet, but it was about a 1.7% chance. So just a clutch shot at a clutch moment.
What do you make of just kind of the turn we've seen from the way people are reacting to Bryson DeChambeau? He went through his whole thing a while ago with Brooks Koepka. They had that back and forth. He goes to live, and he's been super vocal about it. But when we've seen him in the majors this season, it looks like the galleries are all in. He has a good attitude. And what do you make of just the DeChambeau kind of love this year?
Yeah, I think the one word that comes to mind is just maturity. He's kind of maturing into his role and into finding what he does best and really capitalizing on his strengths as a player. Obviously, that's all talked about, and we hear every time he's on, he's this scientist. But really, the game of golf is what works for you, and then go see if you can execute it on the golf course. There's no exact blueprint. It's your game. It's you against the golf course, and I think he's kind of matured into that role and comfortable with who he is and his game. But then you see the maturity certainly around or outside of the actual playing of the game, where crowds are embracing him, where he's sticking around till 10 p.m. signing autographs. That's the stuff that really grows the game, when you can have fans be accessible to individuals like that. It's great to see, and I think, he's just kind of maturing. And I love his quote about the Olympic team, that he made the choice, he's got to live with the consequences. I think that is probably one of the most truthful statements of a LIV player in the last 3 years, which I respect completely when it comes to Bryson for that comment.
Yeah, Nick Nee joining us, Sandia Golf Club, and Bryson DeChambeau, everyone's like, well, of course he's going to be on the U.S. Olympic golf team. Those 4 golfers, the way he's played in majors, just winning U.S. Open, but didn't qualify. There's still a qualifying system for that, and we know when you play LIV golf, you don't get points like everyone else does. But it's not like U.S. golf is going to be bad in the Olympics. Like it's still got a pretty darn good roster, but I know a lot of people assumed DeChambeau would be one of those players. But you look at your Rory McIlroy, and it's something that Jeff Symbieta and I talked about earlier this week, where this is not a track record of him, bouncing there and not addressing it. But what do you think kind of he's going through right now? Because he didn't talk to anyone. He left right after, the round ended for Bryson DeChambeau. But then he released a statement about how tough it was and just needing some time away. How do you think Rory responds at the Open?
Well, he's before they get to the Open, the Scottish Open, he's the defending champ. So he's going to get 1 week of trying to get his feet back under him. But what I think is it's tough, right? You go through any of us that play the game, it's 4.5, 5 hours of just grueling mentally, and especially at the U.S. Open, physically, and every other emotion runs through you. I'm sure I've never obviously played anywhere close to that hard, but just a regular round here at Sandia is challenging in my mind mentally for 4.5 hours, so I can only imagine what it is on the biggest stage. But I don't know what I make of it. Obviously you'd like to see him just stick around and congratulate Bryson. Bryson did a great job of that, congratulating Xander at the PGA Championship, which I think just alludes to his maturity and why fans are certainly gravitating towards him. I think you'd like to see that from Rory, but you never know. You're not inside his mind, and he had a chance to win it. He didn't, and he made the ultimate decision to just kind of to leave after that, which, they all have that choice, and not being in that situation or in that role, so to speak, is, obviously it's hard to judge, and you hope Rory's back, but you see these things happen to players, and it's really the question is, can he get back to that and get over that hump? Look at what happened at the U.S. Open with Phil Mickelson. He's never come close since. So you never know what happens with that. But I wish him the best. I think links golf is good for Rory. He plays well for the most part, and I think where the Open is this year, I think it suits his game. So I expect him to be right back up there, but he's going to get one more run at defending at the Scottish Open.
Nick Nee with us from San Diego Golf. All right, to make our lives just a little bit easier on the course when we go out there and play, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I got a great early extension drill for you. So what you're going to do is just grab a club and grab a 7-iron driver, but you're actually going to need a wedge. And what you're going to end up doing is you're going to stand, or you're going to put your lead foot heel on the face of that wedge. So for a right-handed player, your left heel, you're going to put that wedge behind you. The club shaft's going to point away from you, but you're just going to keep that pressure on that as you get into your stance. And we're just going to take some swings, one against the tee, and then as you progress through it, if you want to get a ball involved, you certainly can. But really, it's just a basic setup, and what we're working on is really just getting our turn. What we want to see happen is our belt buckle or our belly button get to the target as we maintain that posture, so we become very rotational, right? A lot of people try and jump at the ball, or their hips come to the ball as they're, in essence, rotating, and the ball goes to the right, and it's a very weak shot. What this will do is actually allow your body to be the engine. You can rotate through the shot and be very rotational. And then as you get to your finish, you'll actually keep that club underneath your left heel or your lead foot heel the entire time. So great early extension drill. You can do it with a ball, you can do it without a ball, but do it to hit more powerful shots and more online golf shots.
So are you standing on the club, or is it just behind you?
You're standing on it. So your heel is going to compress the face of that club into the ground. And if it starts to fall, what you'll see is you'll feel that weight start to go towards the ball. But you're standing on the face of the club and really maintaining that pressure to really turn and get to that lead side.
That's fantastic. I know that's my problem, is definitely getting through the ball, which is why it goes right every single time. So you're getting my belt buckle through the target is huge. So stand on that club, rotate through, hopefully hit some better shots. This is why it's fantastic to have you on, Nick. Drills like this, little things you can do to make that round just a little bit easier when you're out there. But I know one of the things you talk about, growing the game. You guys do that so well at Sandia. I spend my Sunday mornings there on the patio. Breakfast tacos are my go-to, but I know you guys have so much going on, from the Cubs to what people can do playing around at Sandia.
Yeah, we do. We got a lot going on. Obviously, we're in the thick of our season, so come on out, enjoy the patio, like you mentioned, JJ. Our Cubs class, we run 2 sessions for the most part now, as long as we have enough participation, which we've had the last couple weeks. So 9 to 10 are those Cubs classes, and 10:30 to 11:30, but call the Wednesday prior. Come enjoy, breakfast or brunch on the patio. Check out our specialty drink menu. We just got new apparel from Adidas in that's just hit the floor yesterday. So we're still running that $150 spend. You get a free Seamus head cover from Adidas Golf. Step into the golf shop as you're waiting for your kiddo at Cubs, or in between your meal and enjoying our wonderful patio. But come on out anytime, and Ernie does a great job with that menu. Golf course is in fantastic shape with our superintendent, Isaiah. And I just try and stay the heck out of the way, because we got a fantastic team that we look forward to serving.
Well, it's always fun. You guys do such a great job out there. I always enjoy my Sundays. I know that the kid is falling in love with the game. He talks about it all the time, and that's what we're talking about, growing the game, get people at San Diego Golf Club. Nick, I always appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Appreciate the time. Y'all have a good weekend.
Nick Nee, San Diego Golf Club. Get on out there. Play a fantastic time. Enjoy the patio, what they're doing with the Cubs up to the PGA Junior program, growing the game of golf and helping you get better as well. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports M.
This report is sponsored by...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Evergard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro View. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on Pro View Networks.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. and Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Kenny Thomas set to join us at 9 a.m. We'll get back into Lakers J.J. Redick conversation. How would he feel? He spent 11 years in the NBA. If he's on a team and all of a sudden, like, you know, the best player on your team has been doing a podcast. Now, they weren't doing podcasts back then, but the dynamic is going to be fascinating in that Lakers locker room. I think LeBron and AD, they're going to be on the same page. They're going to be fine. But I also feel, you know what? If you're on the Lakers, you understand what you're getting yourself into with LeBron James. So Kenny Thomas, excited to have that conversation. It will be our final Kicking It with KT of the season. The Boston Celtics have their championship parade this morning. So we'll look back at the Lobos season as well. Of course, Kenny Thomas, the big thing of we came back and he was doing these segments with us, but he was also doing the post-game show over on News Radio KKOB. Just get his thoughts on, was this a launching point for the program with what they were able to do last season, winning the Mountain West tournament, getting back to the NCAA tournament, and now what Rich Pitino has rolling, especially with that non-conference schedule next season for the Lobos. They'll see UCLA in Vegas. They'll see St. John's in Madison Square Garden. Got the MTE in California, or St. Mary's, Arizona State, USC. They could see out there. And when Richard Pitino joined us a couple weeks ago here on the opening drive, he said he feels that it could be one of the most challenging non-conference schedules. That's what you have to do, especially when you look at what the NCAA tournament committee said. Yeah, the Lobos won the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament by winning the Mountain West tournament, but they would not have been in without that. And I know that was an eye-opener for a lot of people looking at the Mountain West Conference, how good it was, just thinking, yeah, the Lobos are going to be an at-large team even if they didn't win. Well, they weren't. Well, UNM and Rich Pitino heard that message, so they stacked that non-conference schedule. So we'll talk with Kenny Thomas here in a few minutes. Opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, joined by Steve Masterson this morning. He is my co-host on the Three Dudes Fantasy Football Show. That is my side gig. Check it out. We are your fantasy football show. Steve Masterson, Aaron Hernandez, and myself are on YouTube, dropping stuff weekly or bi-weekly throughout the summer, but also on Instagram. We got takes, fantasy football stuff for you all the time. So check us out. Much appreciated. Having a lot of fun doing that with my guys, and being a fantasy football show that you can connect with right here in 505.
Well, and we encourage you to connect with us. Like, hey, reach out, let's talk. So, it's been a fun show, but we're always looking for takes. If you've got a take, let's talk about it. So reach out to us.
505-246-0610. That is the Sports Animal hotline, the Sports Animal text line this morning. One of the things that's going to be really interesting when Kenny joins us too is the Western Conference. So one of the things for the Lakers is going to be, how do they make one more push with LeBron James and Anthony Davis? And I know I've been saying it a lot. It just kind of feels like a 2-year window for LeBron of being a player that can play at that level, that can make it to a regular season, that can still be there in the postseason. But this also, over the last few years, has been a Lakers team that's had to go through the play-in to get to the playoffs. Now, 2 years ago, they got to the Western Conference Finals. They've been dispatched by the Nuggets last year in the Western Conference Finals, then in the first round this year. And do they have enough around the edges to make an impact? Because the pieces they brought in last year, I did like them. You know, when you have Austin Reeves, is he a good enough number 3 right now? But I when it was, Jared Vanderbilt, Cam Reddish, like those guys along the perimeter, even a Christian Wood, like those are the type of moves the Lakers are making right now. But that's, you need LeBron to play at such a high level. I think Anthony Davis put in one of his most consistent seasons last year that we've seen. But at this point in time, you're looking at JJ Redick, and then it feels like you're going to have the Bronny James. It's going to happen. And just how does all this stuff swirl and factor in for the next season?
That's going to be hard. I think we need to make the move to Anthony Davis, though, and stop making it LeBron's team.
I don't know if Anthony Davis is that guy.
I don't either.
I think as long as LeBron there, it's going to always there's not going to be a passing of the court until he's not on the court anymore. But we'll get Kenny's thoughts, says Kenny Thomas, global legend, NBA veteran, set to join us. Coming up next, it is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Light skin shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready.
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Capital Ford on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal.
I can't believe it. But Friday, June 21st, I guess it's good timing because the Celtics are having their championship parade, and we're hitting you with the final time. Kenny Thomas kicking it with KT.
Today's my last day.
Is it? I know. I thought Jeff mentioned it. You can keep coming in.
I don't know.
Just keep coming in.
I don't know.
Tuesdays and Fridays. We'll see.
Yeah, I love you guys. Even though looks like it's going to pick up next year, hopefully.
Yeah, let's get it. It's been a lot of fun. The perspective you've been there, done that.
Done what?
Everything.
No,
everything.
Man, this is you, man. This is your world. I'm trying to blend in, and thank you guys for allowing me to have my little 30 minutes on your show.
Well, it's not just that. It's what you've been doing post game, mobile basketball.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, it's looking good to where hopefully I'll still have both shows next year. Still negotiating that. Yeah, it's looking good.
What's that time of year? There's a lot of negotiating going on.
Yeah, you got that right. And then especially with the new fiscal year starting July 1 with a lot of government entities, there's opportunities that are coming even more. Even though I have my partnership with the county right now to do some different things. And I have my 3-on-3 tournament at Tower Park with Albuquerque Community and Safety and the Bernalillo County tomorrow at Tower Park. We're doing a 3-on-3 tournament. It's like a little block party. So they're looking at doing some more things with me and trying to do some things out here in the community, man.
Absolutely. You've been doing a lot, too, not just on the radio, but within the community. It's Kenny Thomas kicking it with KT back here on the opening drive. So it's the worst kept secret in sports. JJ Redick is the head coach.
I was about to say JJ Buck.
No, I wish. I'll take that contract. Is the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. And how do you think that goes over if you're just a role player? You know, if you're just one of the other Lakers, kind of looking at what the dynamic is going to be with JJ Redick and LeBron.
Well, obviously we've heard several things, right? Everybody's blowing this out of proportion as far as JJ and LeBron. I've heard some insight that those episodes of the podcast, those things were coming. They were coming anyway. And JJ, I feel like it's a great opportunity for him to be able to go. He obviously has a couple years of coaching experience because he took over Darvin Ham position when he got fired. But I'm happy James Borrego did not go there. I'm very happy about
talking about that a lot.
Because I would rather see him in Cleveland because I feel like that's a longer stint for him coming into this Lakers situation. It's going to be on a platform like that. There's going to have to be a lot of things that's going to have to go into play. But he is a younger guy, and if you could tell, the league is shifting towards those younger guys, and it just happens that he played 16 years and he knows, and he's been doing commentating for the last several years. So we'll see what happens, man. You never know, but it's always going to fall back on the coach anyway when it comes down to it. So they don't even know if LeBron's going to be there. Yeah. He got to pick up his extension by June 29th, right?
Well,
for $51 million.
Right. It's a player option. I think they even probably just guarantee 2 years.
Yeah.
For LeBron. It feels like that's the window of LeBron and the Lakers. JJ LeBron 2 years.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of moving.
I mean, you could talk about his son. Everybody's trying to play that into a factor. If I was LeBron, I would want to play with my kid. First time ever in history, right? He's already putting a lot of things in stone in history anyway already, so why not add another one? He's a guy that can determine certain situations, but he, like you said, he has one more year under contract. So he has to play it out regardless. It's just going to see how it unfolds. Hopefully the players buy in because he was a player opposed to being more of a coach.
When you look at just the narrative around a situation like that, I think it's easy for talking heads or fans to make more of a situation than that's what's going on. How can LeBron be doing this? He got his guy JJ Redick, and he's going to get his son on the team. What a disaster. As a player, when you look at LeBron James, you're going, all right, I'm still going to get to play with LeBron and be on this team. Bronny's not good enough to where all of a sudden he's going to be on the floor 15 or 20 minutes next year. But is this just one outside of being a player in that locker room, like we make more of a like thinking like, oh, this is going to be a mess than what it would actually be.
Yeah, obviously people do think it's going to be a mess, but LeBron James, he's put some pieces together. He did it in Cleveland, he did it in Miami, and now he's trying to do it in LA. The fact that LA is on a platform that's one of the biggest ones outside of New York, that stage is unbelievable, right? But obviously with social media today and being able to push out content, there's so many different things and narratives that people could actually push, but nobody actually knows what those are going to be until they actually happen, right? The first thing was to get JJ hired. It happened. Signed an 8-year deal, right? No, 4 years, $8 million a year. It's the way that coaches are being fired right now, man. It's like popping candy to a certain extent, right? It's insane.
What do you think about what happened in Detroit?
Oh God, I was just about to bring up Monty Williams. Like, that's my guy. I played with him in Philly under Larry Brown for like 2 years, I think. Monty's had an unbelievable story the last like 10 years with his wife passing in a car accident and different things like that. And Phoenix, it was a tough situation. Now everybody's talking about him getting paid out. He got paid out. He's getting $25 million from Phoenix. And then he goes to Detroit and he signs one of the biggest coaching contracts there is right now.
He still
right?
has $65 million coming his way.
Yeah, so it's $85 million that's coming to him. I know how Monty is. He's cool with that, but he's the type of individual that has more pride than you think. He didn't want to get fired. He wanted to go to Detroit and try and turn something around. But once again, when you got guys like Cade Cunningham and guys like that are up and coming in Detroit, you got to give the man a little bit of time.
That's why Detroit is the franchise they are right.
Yeah.
To bring in Monty Williams and say, hey, we're investing this much in you because we know this is going to be a process, and then I don't know, this a week before the draft, fire him after 1 year.
Yeah. And then you can kind of factor in maybe these organizations, when it comes to the management, they want to get the coach in to be able to solidify before the draft. I totally understand that because they're trying to get places in and probably bring in guys that coach and the coaching staff can identify coming in to be able to help them. But I feel like what everybody's saying right now is that JJ should reach out to the Boston coach, right? To figure out how he was able to maneuver and bring in a guy like Sam Cassell that's won a championship, that's been around the league for a while. JJ's going to have some people like that on his staff that can help support. And it's going to come down to the locker room. Him holding on to the locker room, that's the key part. And trying to make everybody happy. But the way that this game is unfolding, it's about money, man, to a certain extent. And it's about producing. Producing comes with you putting up numbers. That's how you're able to get paid. Prime example, look at the Sacramento Kings, right? They were like the Detroit. They were like Detroit. They were rebuilding, right? And then it took them a while. It took them 17 years, last time I played, to actually make the playoffs. And now they just signed Malik Monk to a 4-year deal for like $80 million, right? Like $13, $15 million a year. So the fact that you have to build some kind of foundation, and we could talk about Lobo basketball too. It's building a foundation, Pitino staying, and bringing in pieces and trying to sustain it.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that because I want to do a little bit of a look back on the Lobo season with you next segment. But you talk about building something, and when you look at it, the players that are re-signing right now, you're in the time where you can re-sign your own unrestricted free agent. So you saw Pascal Siakam get his big deal with the Pacers.
Huge deal.
$189 million.
4 years? 5 years?
4 years. Oof. Big time deal for Siakam. Mentioned Malik Monk just got paid. The big name, it looks like it's going to be Paul George. And the reports are that Clippers are moving on from Paul George. So if you were the Los Angeles Clippers, they already re-signed Kawhi, so he's there. James Harden is an unrestricted free agent as well. Would you move forward with Kawhi and Paul George or Kawhi and James Harden if you were making?
If I was making the decision, I would try and keep all three. I would try. With the salary cap being about 135, 140 million for like 14, 15 guys right now, there seems like there's some room there. I think Westbrook is gone, right? Or is he still there? He's probably still under contract. If anything, I feel like Westbrook should be moved. But they're talking about Paul George going to Orlando, going to Philly, my old team. I think he should stay there because now the trend is not only two guys, it's three guys that are big time guys. If you have to take a pay cut, why not take a pay cut? These are three guys that have made.
I agree with you, but it sounds like the Clippers aren't in on extending Paul George, and now he does have a player option, but I think he would probably decline that player option and go try to.
It also comes down to how much he wants too, right? Yeah. It's kind of like we can sit here and talk about the Warriors and Klay Thompson. Look at that situation. This is the guy that was starting, coming off the bench. And then he's a guy that doesn't have the greatest history when it comes to postseason because he just hasn't, right? And it's been kind of missed or he's kind of been able to disappear to a certain extent because he's had guys like KD and Draymond and Steph Curry and some other guys, Peyton Jr., right, that have stepped up to where he hasn't had to. I feel like Klay needs to stay in Golden State because I feel like if he goes somewhere else and tries to be that one or two guy, probably the second guy, I don't think that's for him.
As Kenny Thomas, we're kicking it with KT. When we come back on the other side, we'll get into the progression of Lobo basketball, look back on the season, some of the highlights, and then he thinks of the non-conference schedule, which Rich Pitino says could be one of the best non-conference schedules the Lobos have played. We'll get into that next.
Not in history.
It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Get ready to...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Try this shit better than all my intentions. Like and show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I give you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Hey, look, it's Dwight Goodman.
This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom. Boom.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro View. From pros to prep, all your favorite action.
Kicking it with Kenny Thomas. JT's killed it on the radio. Going back, I remember that night. What was it exactly? January 2nd.
Oh, crap.
No, that was when we kicked off the post-game show.
Oh, that's when we started?
Yeah, that was.
Oh,
I was there for the first one with y'all. And, of course, Brandon came in. But then doing post-game with Lobo basketball. You've been chilling with us in the mornings. It's been a lot of fun, and it was a fun Lobo basketball season this year. Of course, the highlight to me is Vegas. You go in there, you do something that no team has done, and that's win 4 games in 4 days and win a Mountain West title. But when you look back on this season for Lobo basketball, what stands out to you?
I mean, it was up and down there for a minute. I felt like this community was very supportive. At certain times, we just need the community to come out and be supportive a little bit more. No matter who they play. And I'm saying that because that's all I know, right? Whoever we played, it was always sold out. I know we're trying to get back to that, which is what's been happening the last couple of years with Patino being here. There's a lot of situations to where games should have gone the other way, obviously, but winning the Mountain West Conference tournament was a huge turn. I just feel like the Lobos got dealt a bad card, obviously, going into the tournament. Trust me, I'm used to that to a certain extent because them playing Clemson, it was one of those things to where they had to do everything right. And you had the big fella in the middle playing some good ball, but they just couldn't score or sustain being able to control the inside of the paint. JT Toppin leaving, going to Texas Tech, huge loss. But I feel like Patino's brought in some big guys that can actually probably play right away. Probably need to get a little bit bigger. But I will say that I am very excited about this year and some of the pieces that are still here. Obviously, Donovan Dent is that guy. I got to give him mad respect for staying because he's one of those guys that could have left. But being able to stay here and sustain giving back to this community and building, that's the identity that Dent wants, and that's the same identity that I wanted. So I have mad respect for Dent. Man.
Yeah, and I know that's something you've talked a lot about is in this era of college athletics, how important loyalty is. You know, when you see that, you do appreciate it. And for Donovan Dent, as you know, he heads into his junior season, how good can he?
Man. His mid-range and attacking the basket is unbelievable. I'm not saying that he can't shoot the three because he can, but I see him as a guy that's coming downhill, being more aggressive, getting in the paint, opening up situations for guys on the perimeter. Hopefully, they can figure out who's going to be that sniper at the 2 or 3 spot. I feel like they need a good perimeter shooter that can probably be about 30 to 40%. I know 40% is high. I'll even take 35 at this point, but they need a sniper because I saw some things to where teams went zone against the Lobos, and where was the shooting? And then that collapses the paint, and Dent can't get in. And obviously, the backcourt is known for trying to penetrate and get in the paint. That's where House came in. That's where Dent came in. But I just feel like if they come up with a better scheme or a better plan, maybe even go inside a little bit more to Nelly, right? To just try and get the bigs going to some extent.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting watching Nelly Jr. Joseph, who's back, and the look still like a man amongst boys. Yeah. Like when you do see him out there, because got some young guys around him. You know, look at Jovan Milosevic, the 6'10" freshman that's coming in. You got Daniel Thomas, the 6'8" freshman that's coming in. You know, those guys are going to be playing some minutes in the power forward position. And you mentioned what it looks like on the outside. I think it's going to be surprising when people see Philip Rovician, the 6'9" transfer from Arizona, because I think the team is probably going to play him at the 3.
Okay.
And then you got Mustafa,
big
6'8", who wants to play on the wing a little bit. And all of a sudden you got like 6'9", 6'8". And if they can be shooters out there.
Mustafa's I liked his game. He turned it on late. He's a guy that I feel like that can load it up from the perimeter. But I would want to see him put the ball on the floor and work in that mid-range. If not, attack the basket. He's not a guy he's not very bouncy, right? So get in there and work on your mid-range because you're not always going to be able to get to the basket. And like you said, if he's able to play that one kid at the 3 that's coming in, he's 6'8", right? That makes them bigger. And then from the 3, 4, 5, they shouldn't have a problem of rebounding by losing somebody like a JT, right? Because of his presence on the offensive boards and the defensive boards is replaceable, right? It's irreplaceable right now because we don't know. So if they're gang rebounding at the 3, 4, 5, that would be huge. And then I feel like the 1 and the 2 are going to have to play a little bit more on the backcourt side, especially when they're transitioning to the defensive side, right? Because that backcourt needs to be back. So I don't know how that's going to work. It's probably going to be based off of matchups. If Pitino's going to go on bigger, but if they have the small forward guy that's bigger, why not post him up, right? Taking advantage of mismatches would be key, opposed to just running around with your head instead of running around with your head cut off like a chicken, right? Like last minute, the best play in basketball is always a pick and roll, right? In the last 10 minutes of the game, it's going to open up something. And there's only 5 defenders on the court. You can't guard them all.
Kicking with Kenny Thomas. Now, I did, when I teased coming into the segment, talking about the schedule, I didn't say best in history.
Yeah,
so I did.
Better confirm that.
Because I know you guys played some big-time games in your non-conference schedule. But as a fan and as a former Lobo, when you see this team, though, matching up against the St. John's, UCLA, getting into those big non-conference tournaments, how do you feel looking at?
That's a great question because the schedule, people don't realize the schedule has a play in everything when it comes to the NCAA tournament. Everybody was excited when the Lobos got ranked in the top 25 a couple times this year. That's great. But it's a matter of sustaining that. And then your schedule going on the road is huge, especially if you can go on the road and get a couple big wins. St. John's, and I think they're going to Vegas for another big tournament.
They're playing UCLA in Vegas.
See, that's huge. Because you're going on the road. Because obviously everybody knows how the pit is. It's hard to win in the pit, especially when there's a big time game coming in and when you have 10,000 plus people in the pit. It's hard, and then you're not even factoring the elevation, right? But the schedule is going to be crucial, and it's you got to realize it's seedings are also ranked off of players too, I think, and where are those players at? And obviously it's measured by overall team performance. So I feel like conference play is going to be another huge part when it comes to the Lobos because the Mountain West Conference, man, there's some teams in there. And if you take them lightly, obviously, if you go on the road, there were some letdowns from the Lobos this year going on the road that nobody expected. But when they come back home, they took care of home court.
Lastly, if you can, on the schedule, remember, we probably did talk about it, but I'm blanking right now.
What's up?
Playing New Mexico State just won. What do you think of that?
Well, obviously, that's the rivalry of the Rio Grande, right? But with everything that's happened down at state the last couple of years, it's been a sad moment because it's kind of killed the community and in the perspective of like how things are going right now in our world. There's a lot of different components that's going on right now, and I feel like we need to stay within ourselves and let's try and be a little bit more positive. But that's just me, and obviously it's not going to happen. But we got to get that rivalry back. It's one of the big ones, and it's huge for the state because there's a lot of Aggies here in Albuquerque, which kind of pisses me off. But no, I'm kidding, you guys. I don't really care anymore, but. Even though I'm a big Lobo fan, obviously.
Well, it's one that, it did work and people were excited for, but now maybe there's a little more intensity if you have to sit on it for you. Like because this one you could, all right, you lost, so maybe you play them a week later and then you split. Now, I guess what you could say is, well, now you have to sit on it for a whole year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Just trying to spin it.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. But man, that rivalry has to happen. It just has to. So one more year, okay, cool. I feel like in the next year or so, we should get back to that. It's a matter of going down there, right? But they're coming here.
So it's something that they said in a couple years they could revisit.
Yeah.
Putting it back on the schedule.
See,
Twice.
but there's a lot of things going on with football and basketball and just Aggies and Lobos right now based off of just the last couple
a lot of things
years.
going on in college athletics right now.
Yeah. So besides these kids making a crap load of money, these kids are making, man.
Big time deals.
Yeah, and I can't even hate, and I'm not going to hate because these kids deserve it. And I've always said it back when I was playing in college, like we got like $420 a month for scholarship to live off campus. And then we were able to get Pell Grants based off of our parents' situation, right? So that was a little bit more money. And we couldn't work during the year. We can only work in the summer.
Of course.
So the fact that these kids are getting paydays, good for them because there's no guarantee that they're going to go pro, especially NBA or NFL or a lot of guys end up going overseas. But get your money, and you got to realize you got to pay taxes on that money too.
Taxes are coming. You got to pay taxes. Kenny Thomas, NBA, social media.
Yeah.
Follow everything you got going on and a big event. Is it tomorrow?
Yeah, it's tomorrow. I partnered up with the community, Albuquerque Safety, and Bernalillo County. We're having a 3-on-3 tournament. It's like a block party at Tower Park. It's from 10 to 1. And also, I want to acknowledge this is the big weekend for the Hall of Fame for New Mexico. There's a lot of different things going on. There's a golf tournament tomorrow, and then there's a banquet on Sunday. It's the 50th year anniversary. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. There's a lot going on this weekend. And I got to give a shout out to the people down in Rio Doso, man. There's been reported a couple people have passed away, I think, too. Prayers out to their family in the state of New Mexico. And I was supposed to have a tournament down in Roswell the 28th through the 30th with the city, but everybody's relocating there in Roswell. The city of Roswell is like helping them. That was actually the only way out. So we're pushing that back to probably like August. So.
Yeah, I know you guys definitely, though, we'll do a lot to support Rio Doso as well. And Kenny Thomas, NBA, on the social media. Follow him, everything he's got going on, what he's doing, where he's at.
Yeah, my wines and Albertsons. I think July 12th, I will be up in Santa Fe doing a couple stores. If you want to come out, I'll be doing some signings and different things like that. So once again, follow me, Kenny Thomas NBA. All my stuff's there.
Always appreciate it, man.
Man, I appreciate you. If I'm back next week, awesome. If not, I will be back in a few weeks.
See you soon.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy the Celtics parade today.
Ain't nobody watching that crap.
It is Kenny Thomas. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This is Two Men On.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Show that she better than all my intentions. Like me, show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
For surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Sweet Rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready.
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother.
Reddick is the head coach, got a 4-year deal. Now will Bronny James be playing with his dad in LA? It's the opening drive. JJ Buck, joined by Steve Masterson this morning. My guy, the co-host on the 3 Dudes Fantasy Football Show. Check us out on YouTube. It's my side project. It's my side gig. Having a lot of fun. Also, 3 Dudes Fantasy Football on the Instagram. Breaking all the fantasy football stuff down, talking NFL. And it's your connection to fantasy football. You know, speaking of football, we're going over some of the notes. And you mentioned, oh, this is the Aaron Rodgers. Well, the NFL, they've done some changes. And sometimes things go under the radar, but can make a gigantic impact. And they made some tweaks to the IR rule. And yesterday, the NFL informed the Players Association that it has finalized rules for players returning from injured reserve next season. So you can have a maximum of 8 IR designations throughout a season. So you can put a player on IR. He has to be there for at least 4 weeks.
Yep.
But that means you can have up to 8 players go on IR, open that roster space, but then also bring that player back from IR, plus 2 additional spots in the playoffs to bring players back.
Well, I think it was 6 last season off of IR. So they've even increased the regular season up to.
Yeah, so you get 8 now.
You get 8, and then
plus
you get
2 spots in the postseason where you can bring a player back off IR, which you couldn't do before.
Right, and I did call it the Aaron Rodgers rule, right? Because last season, if the Jets would have made the playoffs and they left Aaron Rodgers on IR, they wouldn't have been able to bring him back. It's a good rule, I think, in the grand scheme of things. Like, if a player gets hurt and he's going to be out multiple weeks, I should be able to put him on IR and not have to take up a roster spot. And that's the whole point of the IR. Like, you shouldn't be out the whole season.
I think it's a good move for football teams to do, is give themselves that flexibility, because especially with high ankle sprains, a lot of these players, 6 to 8 weeks, but then they can come back, and then you had to make that decision: do we just sit on this hurt player and not have the opportunity to fill that spot because he still has to be on your active roster?
Right? Are we running 52 men instead of 53?
Versus now having the opportunity to sit players, but then bring them back so the players can get as right as they can be at that point in time, and then the 2 for the postseason. I think it is big, and I think a lot of it, and it's the way the game goes. It's also thinking about the quarterback, the injuries, because Aaron Rodgers with his new surgery was just so far ahead of anything.
Right.
And for him, it happened in 4 plays into week 1.
Right.
So it gives him that opportunity. But you could even think of if it was a Cincinnati situation.
Yeah, Joe Burrow.
If, we realized that, that wrist was a lot more injured than we thought initially. But it could have been the same thing. Like, he is able to get his treatment, but then if they make the playoffs, bring Joe Burrow back.
Well, I mean, last season was injury city for quarterbacks. Like, it was the most injuries I've seen at the quarterback position in a long time, right? Because Justin Herbert went out.
66 different guys started a game,
which is insane. Like, you would think
it's like pretty much 2 per team.
2 per team, yeah. And you would think like 1 or 2 big time injuries. It's like, oh, the quarterback position this year. But last year we saw big names go down for multiple weeks. But Joe Burrow being the big one, he got hurt in training camp, and then he got hurt again in games. And then Aaron Rodgers tearing his Achilles.
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins. It was crazy. Justin Herbert. A lot of those quarterbacks got hurt for a long time.
Yeah, and so I do like this rule overall for the NFL, but then anything you always have an eye towards. What does this mean for the quarterback?
Yeah,
and bringing those guys back,
because the NFL is a quarterback-driven league, which is just what it is. So you have to be able to get those guys back in there.
And speaking of the AFC East, you mentioned Aaron Rodgers, and you look right now, the Bills are still the favorites. They're plus 170 on DraftKings at the sportsbook, followed by the Jets at plus 190, the Dolphins at plus 200. The giant question mark is what the heck are the New England Patriots going to look like moving forward? Gerard Mayo takes over. They take Drake May, but that offense has a long way to go. I know you've been a Drake May guy. When we've had these discussions, he was always at the end of the top quarterbacks selected. I did have him behind Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, who I thought were legit top 2. And then there was a bit of a gap for me when I was talking about Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, even Bo Nix in this conversation. But the Patriots, they're trying to retool things. They re-signed Ramondre Stevenson, who was a 4th-round pick back in 2021. Wasn't healthy last year, and it's disappointed a lot of people, especially in the fantasy football world, that invested in him. But, that's a team that has to retool. They drafted Jalen Polk in the 2nd round out of Washington, a wide receiver. But I think the Stevenson signing is perfect for them because it's a cheap contract for a running back that can produce that at a high level. But when you look at Drake May, I don't think Drake May is going to start the season, which I'm okay with. I do think it's going to be Jacoby Brissett who starts for the Patriots.
Yeah.
But it's the top of that division, as much as we're sitting here talking about the other divisions, what we know, the top of the North. Rodgers coming into this with Josh Allen and Tua is just another division you look at and go, okay, can these quarterbacks live up to the hype? Because, for Josh Allen, it's going to be life without Stephon Diggs. But you know what? Like, the last 6 weeks of the season last year was life without Stephon Diggs.
They did okay.
And they were okay. Like, I trust Josh Allen. Tua is going to put up numbers. It's just, can they beat the Bills? But now also it's the Jets are going to be a different beast in that battle.
Yeah, I mean, I need the Jets to prove it. Aaron Rodgers is 40 coming off of a serious injury.
We are putting so much on 2 quarterbacks coming off Achilles injuries. Like, they're going to be.
Yeah, and they're not young either. Like, I mean, I'm 36 years old, and I know if I tore my Achilles, I'd probably be out for way more than 9 months. Like, I'd be limping for the next year and a half. So I know they're different animals.
They're also not ripped like 2 Chainz Kirk Cousins.
Right, that's true. No, I think from an AFC East perspective, I actually find it weird that the Jets are the number 2. I think it's all based on Aaron Rodgers, right? If we look at it, last season, the Dolphins were in the lead for the AFC East until the last game when Buffalo beat them. So I'm not saying Buffalo shouldn't be the crown jewel because Buffalo's Buffalo, and they've kind of taken over that New England spot since Tom Brady left. But I don't know if you can just automatically assume the Jets are number 2. Because
I'm with you.
Aaron Rodgers is still coming off an injury. They haven't proven it. And They didn't make a ton of adjustments to their offensive line. They
drafted a tackle.
Yeah, they drafted, but
they haven't had the recent history at tackle hasn't been great.
Well, and can you expect
Elijah
a rookie
Vera Tucker, has been their best, but he's going to play on the inside. It'll be good for Aaron Rodgers.
Can you expect a rookie tackle to come in and just be dominant? That's just not normal. It might happen. It might, but it's not normal. So,
it depends kind of outside the top couple. Like Joe Alt, they're expecting right away
right,
to come in and play big time for the Chargers. Along those lines. I understand it's...
But even Joe Thomas, who's a Hall of Fame tackle, when he came in and was drafted number 1 overall, he didn't play great until his 5th or 6th game, and he's a Hall of Fame tackle. So are we expecting that same level of
that's
production?
the big thing, right, with the Packers is protecting Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Because 4 plays into the season, he got chased down and popped his Achilles.
I mean, he's still playing on that terrible turf in New York, which just destroys everybody for some reason, and they haven't changed it.
And with you, like I think you look at it too, and you say, well, the Jets were a 7-win team with a mess at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
And so kind of what we're talking about in anything right now is Aaron Rodgers, he's not the MVP dude. Like, I'm not putting those expectations on him, but it's kind of the way I feel about Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh. Like, you want week in and week out consistency, the ability to make some big plays. And you maybe even coming off the Achilles, you feel that there is still even a little bit of a higher ceiling with Aaron Rodgers versus Russell Wilson, but you have that established frame, right? You're going to play good defense. You're going to be competitive in your division. Those division games, it doesn't matter what division you look at, the styles always seem to match up to where they grind for all these teams and just get a little bit more out of it with Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. And then you bring in Mike Williams, so he's coming off a major knee injury as well, and that was kind of his drawback in LA was not being healthy. So there's a lot more questions than outright answers.
Right, and that was kind of where my perspective is it's still the Bills division, but I actually have the Dolphins as a clear favorite and the Jets number 3. I actually have the Jets missing the playoff.
Yeah, it's looking at the AFC wild card. It is going to be a fantastic race next season. 505-246-0610 Sports Animal Hotline, Sports Animal Text Line. This morning it is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM AM 610D.
My tutor, my dad, and my mom.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Like me, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your Find it on ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
Seriously? Buckle up.
Okay. Thank you.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands.
It was awesome to watch what happened yesterday at Rickwood Field. The throwback, everything that was going on, of course, the passing of Willie Mays and the Major League Baseball. To honor not just Willie Mays, but all the legends and players that went through Rickwood Field, and to see the Cardinals beat the Giants 6-5, but the Giants playing with their heavy hearts, passing of Willie Mays this week. That was just a fantastic show from Major League Baseball yesterday. Tonight, Stanley Cup final back in Edmonton. The Oilers have won 2 in a row. The Panthers sitting there. They were up 3-0. It was inevitable. All right, the Oilers got one. They won 8-1, but Florida was going to go back and win at home just like Boston did in the NBA Finals. Right? You give them a game, but then you go back home. Not so fast as Connor McDavid. The Edmonton Oilers putting some pressure on Florida. Could we be looking at a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup final? Edmonton has the opportunity to force one tonight, so that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Of course, this weekend, New Mexico United back in action, hosting the Switchbacks tomorrow night out there at Rio Grande Credit Union Field. Ice Hopes continue their series on the road in OKC. And then we heard Kenny Thomas. Check him out. He's got a 3-on-3 basketball tournament going on tomorrow. Go to Kenny Thomas NBA on the social media. You can find out that information. JJ Buck, my guy Steve Masterson with me together, along with our good friend Aaron Hernandez. We host the Three Dudes Fantasy Football Show. That is my side project. Give it a like, give it a follow. Check us out on YouTube. We got all our videos up there. Of course, on the Instagram, Three Dudes Fantasy Football. It's your connection to fantasy football. It's talking football, talking fantasy stuff. And that's what I do like about fantasy football so much is it's a giant crossover. Like when we're getting ready for these shows, when you're talking fantasy football, you just have to know football.
Well,
like
yeah.
You become a better football fan through fantasy football. Like you really do.
Well, I would argue fantasy football players probably know more about every team in the NFL than any one fan knows about their team. I know that sounds crazy.
No, it's right. It's also, I think it's a challenge, and we see some people that don't want to get into fantasy. It's like, I can't root for this guy. I can't be sitting there on a Sunday like, oh no, my fantasy football running back is playing my favorite team. and you're like, what am I supposed to do now?
Well, I remember getting called not a true Dolphin fan because I took Tom Brady. But you know what? The Dolphins have disappointed me for 20 years. Tom Brady won me a fantasy football championship, so I will still always be a Dolphin fan. I will root for the Dolphins. But if Tom Brady's playing the Dolphins, I'm going to root for a 49-48. Tom Brady throws 6 touchdowns, but the Dolphins win.
Yeah. Get your stats, but your team gets the victory.
Yeah.
That is funny. And you know, for me, it's like I love my fantasy. Like I am more in now on my fantasy football team winning than am the Broncos. Like I've gone through that phase. Like I went from the obnoxious guy that you could not watch a football game with when I was younger.
Yeah.
Because I'd lose my
Yeah.
To all right, enjoying it, trying to be adult about it, and now like I'm that dude. Like, my fantasy football team
Listen,
means everything.
I've watched football games with you, and I think you're more obnoxious when I have a player rooting that I'm going against you in, like Wes Welker for 99 yards and a touchdown.
Wasn't that one of the best Monday Night Football?
That was the worst game ever.
A 99-yard touchdown from Tom Brady to Wes Welker. What was this, like 2008, 2009 or something?
Yeah,
Monday Night Football,
somewhere around there. Well, yeah, Tom Brady threw and I
99-yard touchdown.
It was Wes Welker. There's no reason. Not only did your fantasy team,
his little legs just going all the way down the sideline.
Your fantasy team beats my team, and then the Patriots beat the Dolphins. It was just the most heartbreaking. And all I wanted to do was you to leave.
You're like, please leave my house. Right
Go away.
Why you are celebrating way too much in my living room.
Now every time I want to watch any fantasy sports with you, I'm like, hey, let's go to a bar somewhere so that if it starts to get bad, I can just leave. Because I don't want to.
I'm going to kick you out.
I can't kick. You're still my friend. I don't want to kick you out of the house. So we can go somewhere else. But
yeah, but we're not watching that.
Yeah, but yeah, that's. I mean, that's
Dude,
what
I want to speak about moments. How many points did the Miami Dolphins score against the Denver Broncos?
Yeah, I know. But you just said you're not a Dolphin. A Bronco. Yeah, I know that was bad.
One of those.
That was
what is happening.
That was a great game as a Dolphin fan. I was sitting there just going,
unbelievable.
This is amazing. But yeah, I don't know. I will say this. You know, my favorite part about fantasy is not only do you get to learn a lot, but it's a reason to get together, right? We started to we
do a live draft, like
we do a live draft
together.
And I make fun of myself every year, and so does my wife. But I always say fantasy draft day is my Christmas, right? That's my happiest day of the year. August 1st, I start doing our draft lottery, and from August until September, I'm just like in, fantasy football heaven. But getting to see everybody at our draft, and it's made us in the other aspect of our life, right? We started doing a show,
a brand new show out of it,
right?
I've been doing.
I mean, I didn't see you and Aaron more than once every month or two, and now I see you guys every week. So it
brings the people together.
And I think at the end of the day, that's the important thing. You're just trying to have a good time,
and you can talk as much junk as you want with your friends.
Right, because you have no impact on the actual outcome of the game. So if your fantasy player doesn't do anything, you can say, "Well, I knew that was going to happen," but it doesn't matter.
No, but it's a lot of fun, and appreciate you, man, coming in and hanging out. Hopefully, we can do this more often as you get comfortable. It's easy. Just turn on the mic and go.
Yeah,
we all can do this. Everyone can do this. Everyone can be a radio host. Come take my job. You can do it as well. But I want to say thank you to everyone that tunes into the opening drive. Of course, Jeff Symbieta will be back on Monday. Had a little vacation time. He went up to Denver. I think he saw the Rolling Stones last night. They're still rolling somehow. They probably are actual Stones now on the stage. But there we go. And so Bob's going to be sleeping, but we're going to have to find someone to pick up our award in the Mexico Broadcasters Association.
Yeah, I think after the show, I'm going home and I'm going to sleep until tomorrow afternoon.
That sounds fantastic. I am super jealous.
I'm going to give it a serious effort, I'll tell you that.
But we always appreciate you coming in, Bob.
Sure. I like it here.
And
fun.
Producing the show for us.
Yeah.
And thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. And I think I do it July 5th.
July 5th. Bob's back in. Appreciate you. Steve, great job, man. His radio debut.
Yay.
Steve Masterson, my guy. Appreciate it, man. Check us out. He is 1/3 of the Three Dudes Fantasy Football Show. We're on YouTube and Instagram. That is my side gig. Check it out. Let us know what you think. We've got the Jim Rome Show coming up next. Colin Cowherd at 1. 2 men on. The boys with you at 4 o'clock. Josh Hushan will take over after that. Ice Hopes continue their series in OKC. Cynthia back on Monday. Everybody, federal peace and love. Be safe this weekend. Of course, find where you can donate to help out those in Ruidoso. Adrian ProView, appreciate you. Great weekend, everybody.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Burquia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.